There are new developments tonight in the mysterious arrest of American Paul Whelan in Russia. Today, his lawyer appealed the jailing of the former U.S. Marine without bail, which he argues is excessive. Whelan was reportedly charged with espionage last Friday. That carries a sentence of up to 20 years in prison there if he's convicted. His family says he was simply in Moscow for a friend's wedding. And as you know, alleged Russian spy Maria Butina pled guilty last month to conspiring to act as an agent for the Kremlin and has agreed to cooperate with federal prosecutors. So does it look like the Russians could actually have something here, or is it just straight up payback? Joining me now, former State Department senior advisor and advisor to President Trump and George W. Bush, Christian Whelan is back. Welcome, Christian.
Great to be here. Thanks.
So this whole story is frankly weird, and none of it adds up. Is there any way Mr. Whelan could be a spy?
I think it's extremely unlikely. First of all, the U.S. is known not really to use NOCs or non-official covers. That's what Whelan would be if he were a spy. A lot of intelligence officers use what's called diplomatic cover from many governments around the world. They go and pretend to be diplomats. They, in fact, have other duties. And if they get caught, the worst that happens is they get sent home because they have diplomatic immunity. As a NOC, you don't have that immunity. You can go to jail. You could be executed in some countries for that. And the U.S. just doesn't really do it that much. We've become very risk averse, especially post-Watergate with intelligence reform. So the idea that you would take someone from a military background who does suspicious things, frankly, some odd things, and that he would be a NOC in one of the most aggressive countries in the world for counterintelligence, it just seems extremely unlikely.
Yeah, but he was discharged from the Marine Corps for bad conduct because he was stealing a Social Security number and writing bad checks. So he was kicked out of the service. It's not like he was an exemplary Marine. And, you know, in that way, he was expendable by the government. And, you know, it's like, of course, the first place you're going to look is with diplomats, but non-diplomats who've been on Russian social media for 13 years, it's a
You know, people with a mixed background like that, these were petty crimes, but you're right, he was court-martialed and he was kicked out of the military. Those would actually be targets potentially for recruitment by a foreign in a hostile intelligence service, but not by our own. I mean, the people they have as actual officers who are engaged in espionage or running an espionage, actually, frankly, it's to the other extreme. Their backgrounds are so you know, crystal clear, if you will. They often look like Ken dolls. They're Dudley Do-Rights and fairly easy to spot because of that. So the idea that you take someone...
Because they all look like Jim Harbaugh?
There you go.
He does look like Dudley Do-Right, though. I mean, I think we can all agree on that. So let's talk about Maria Butina a little bit, because there are those who were saying that this is just tit for tat, that she was arrested, she is cooperating with federal prosecutors in this country, and the Russians want her back, maybe to do her harm because she is cooperating. And so they're just pinching someone grasping at straws in order to get her back in their unfine graces.
Right, and to do a trade, we could do a Bridge of Spies situation. You know, it sounds like a great espionage novel. Again, I think it's unlikely in this case. First of all, the prison sentence she faces is only potentially 6 months. It's not like, I mean, she's not charged with espionage. She's charged with failing to register as an agent of a foreign power. And, you know, the idea that she has information beyond what has already been discovered in the indictment, which she's already told to investigators, it's unlikely. Also, the problem is if the Russians were to trade Whelan for him, it would sort of, and if they're saying he's a spy, then it sort of implies that she is a spy, when in fact they have said that they have no idea what she was doing and it wasn't at their direction. We have no idea
what she's doing. But Mike Pompeo has been very non-committal about Whelan, and he has pretty much said, yeah, well, if we think it's necessary, we'll ask for him back.
Well, I think what the secretary said was he's waiting to see what the legitimate reason, according to the Russians, is for charging him, for holding him.
What has John Huntsman said about this? He's actually met with Paul Whelan.
Yes, I believe he did on Wednesday, but I don't think he said much publicly about that, other than he has the meeting and providing.
Suspect as well, Christian Whelan. All right, the whole thing doesn't add up. That's why it's so interesting. We shall see. Thank you very much for making time tonight.
Thanks, Kenny. Appreciate it.
Coming up, are Democrats trying to use the government shutdown to secure a win in 2020? Yeah.